So all of British Columbia is broke up into little units, right? And some are bigger than others. Each one of those is a trap line, and some of these trap lines have been in family names for years and years and years, since they started doing the registered trap line, right? Nobody else can trap there without permission, and you have to trap a certain percentage of fur every year, or so many pelts every year, and you get to keep that trap line. I just like going for walks, looking at stuff, spend 10 minutes just looking at that tree, that willow there, how it's been hard, like the moose have eaten it and stuff like that. And it's probably the same moose every winter stops by there and has a snack, Well, that's why I do everything in the bush. It's just being out here. Being along the road like this, a sow might have run their cubs up there, or, This one's pretty wide, so it looks like it probably could be a pretty big bear. Like here, you can pretty much see his whole, probably like that. Now you know you see what it is. You'll see it all the time now. The moose will eat the bark off the trees too. Usually in the later winter, they'll come into a patch of poplars, and there'll be chunks eaten off, and they scrape it off with their teeth. I don't know if that's what that is, an old one or not, but it could be. It's probably a scarf when they built this road, maybe. Nicked it with a machine. Sounds better if I say it was a moose. This is Floyd's house. Next, actually, this is where we killed the cougar. We killed it just back in there. Because I could see his house. I could see his house from where we shot it. And this is where the cougar was coming and killing his sheep. Killed his dog and his sheep, right? That's a mink. And they smell like cat piss.
How regular is that for somebody to just hit you up and be like, hey, I got one?
Yeah, it's quite often. Or what is this? When I shoot a moose, nothing goes to waste. A lot of times we'll give the hides to the natives. They take them and teach their, traditional moose hide tanning and stuff like that. Of course, all the meat gets used, for my family. What bones I don't keep for cooking and stuff, I usually give to my dog, and they clean them up, right? Generally, everything comes out of the bush except for the guts, right? And that goes back to the earth, right? So yeah, nothing goes to waste. Skinning a mink and a marten, well, skinning most critters are all the same, just different size, right? He was killing the neighbor's chickens or ducks or something, so can't have that. Mink are stinky, as you can tell. If you hit the right spot, they can get really stinky. Most of your mink products that you get nowadays are farmed mink ranches. I think she's been having a problem with him for a while. And mink are, I don't know if you want to call it semi-aquatic. They can swim just as good as they can hunt on land. Like they'll swim underwater and hunt fish and stuff too, eh? Now somebody's gonna say this and say, you're not supposed to scrape that saddle off, which is this strip of meat that I'm taking off here. But there's so much fat on them, I think it's probably better. You eventually get used to all the smells and it don't bother you. By the end of the day, when you're setting traps, you stink so bad that your sense of smell is just basically gone. You definitely want to wash your hands before you eat your sandwich. Oh yeah, they're gonna make a mink coat out of it. Yeah, and it'll be under wild fur. So be a mink coat or mink shawl or whatever they call those things they put over their shoulders. Pretty prime pelt though. See how white he is? When they're not prime, they get darker They start getting blue skin and yeah. Hey, it's a free mink, right? It's a tank of snowmobile gas. I've always break everything down to snowmobile gas. Be lucky to pay for my gas. Now I just got to pay for the oil.
Somebody peed on the door, damn bastards.
Oh, that smell?
Yeah.
No, that's the mink.
The mink smell like it?
This mink I just got here, yeah.
Smells like cat pee.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh.
Smells like the old lady lived down the road. Crazy cat lady. We're the ones out there seeing this, and we do the management. Anytime somebody has a question, who do they come ask? They ask us, because we generally know the answer. And if we don't know the answer, we know somebody that does know the answer, or we'll go find the answer. It's not a perfect world anymore. We have to find ways to correct that kind of stuff, whether it be pollution or low animal numbers or whatever. We don't have time on this earth, and my kids don't have time on this earth, and my grandkids don't have time on this earth to let Mother Nature correct herself. And I'm sure some stuff Mother Nature probably can't even correct herself. Maybe by a couple generations we'll have more science and a better look at things, but it's going to take a lot of work to correct a lot of wrongs. So he's not here anymore. So they have houses and then they have feeder huts. So this would be a feeder hut, and they go out, get something to eat underneath the ice, and then they come back up and eat it. This would be hollow underneath here, and he'd sit on his little platform there, eat his goodies. But this one's not being used. It's frozen up, so we'll just put it back the way we found it. Something might have ate them or something. We could have just moved on to another spot. Looks like something's already dug him out, maybe. So this is a little shelf right here, and down here is into the water. A healthy ecosystem, it's hard to say. It's all, there's lots of different versions, and we like to think that we're got a healthy ecosystem, but it's hard, there's a lot to it, it's a big world out there, and you can break it down all the way down to the tadpoles in the pond, right? They're there for a reason. And then when you're done, when you come to get your trap, you grab a handful of the wet weeds from down there, bring it up, and you plug it up, and you fix his house. Because if you don't fix their house, it'll freeze solid, and then they don't have anywhere to go eat, right? Two. One still alive. We got one over here. So this is how we deal with a live lynx. So what we do, this is, and it's not gonna look humane, but it is actually. Lynx are very soft, and they don't take much. So what we do is we just choke them out. Unfortunately, sometimes it can't always go perfect. Hey. And just like that, it's done. This is a juvenile. Yeah, I think I had a hind leg off a lynx here, right? I might have had some beaver here too. I put bait on this tree, and all these little openings, you guard them with a snare. The one that was still alive, it looks like she might have got a front leg through it, and it was on a drag pole like this, and that she would take off with it, and it would get tangled up in the trees, and obviously she didn't make it very far. Hey, good job, bud. Good job. Lynx just wander around the bush like stoned hippies or something, you know. Just kind of, they're pretty easy going. So I put my snare that far off the ground. That makes him lift his head when he goes through the snare. Lynx, you can handle the traps and everything, bare hands, stuff like that. Doesn't seem to bother them. Any of the canines, no, you gotta keep everything clean. They've got noses on them, like, you know. Usually they'll eat one another because they're pretty cannibalistic, right? Pretty cannibalistic. So there's probably another one. We'll get it in the next round. She's old. Yeah, look at how wore down her teeth are. Broke off and wore down. She's not even got any front teeth on her tops there. So, you know, that's why we're out here, you know. That's a good one to take, because maybe she only had one kitten. She might even be lucky she had a kitten, you know. These tracks, it's just weasel mink sets. They're like this grass, see? Another one. Andrew Stanley from Wild North uses this set. This is where I got this one, and I call it the Hay River set because I think that's where he's from, is Hay River. And this I've had a lot of success with this. I've pretty much taken my limit that I want to take from here. It's not a big area, so I don't want to overdo it. I'll probably Sunday, I'll come out again and pull all my stuff. So if you're not tired of me by Sunday. So you got to be careful when you pull them up, if they're froze down. You don't want to just reef them up because you'll wreck the fur. Gently. Back in the late 80s, when you could get $600,000, $900,000, $1,500 for a lynx, they went as high as for, you know, man, we'd be having a pretty good day. You hear stories of the old timers, you know. Oh yeah, $1,000 for a lynx. What? It's a shame too, because they're such a beautiful fur that they weren't worth a little more, but they're worth plenty to me. I'll start out usually in the beginning of the season with beaver, and then as soon as I start catching lynx, I start using lynx because I don't know, I just have really good luck with lynx for bait. They like eating each other, you know. Come on. He won't jump up, but I know he wants to ride, but he won't just jump up, eh? Having a bumper year for mink this year. I've never caught this many mink. There's another one here because those are fresh tracks. Some otter trapper back east will be like, that's not how you do it. But I don't trap a lot of otters, so I don't get too bad. Once I'm all done trapping, I pull all my snares and everything. I usually leave a good hunk of bait everywhere just for the critters to finish eating over the winter. helps them out. This here's coyotes. Dug up a mouse house there. So they can hear them underneath the snow, and then they'll pounce and push the snow down on top of them, and then they dig them up and try and catch them. I don't know what their success rate is, but they make a living at it. Came right through here. That's that otter's house. He's living in this beaver hut here.
How do you know it's otter?
Yeah, you can tell. They jump, slide. Jump, slide.
So how do you set a trap for this guy?
I'm not gonna trap here by his house, so just in case. I don't know, maybe they have young. Another way to tell if your beaver house is active or not, they have what we call a chimney. There's an air hole, and then you'll see frost. If it's completely covered with snow, there's usually a melted out hole. Starvation is a big one, right? They eat all their food, and they deplete their food, and they starve or whatever, get sick, disease. They get diseases if they get overpopulated. Look at that, like you were saying, that rabbit with tularemia. And that was probably from overpopulation, I believe, is what causes that. I know it'll get in a beaver pond, and it'll clean the whole valley out, right? So, starvation, disease, predation by other animals, right? Yeah, it's not... What we did to that lynx is way better than probably any other, when they get old, if they make it to be old, when they get old, and it turned out that female was quite old, right? Her teeth were all wore down. They don't get to go to the seniors home and live out their retirement. They die of starvation, or something kills them and eats them, or whatever, right? Yeah, I read something the other day that the Canadian lynx is going to be extinct in so many years. I forget the date, but yeah, and that's totally wrong. Maybe endangered in areas, overpopulated with humans. I don't know, but there's definitely no worry with the lynx up in this country. They're overpopulated. It's a pretty cool feeling when you pull in and you got a wolf, and then you go over and you got another wolf, and you got another wolf. If you can catch the alpha, you'll usually catch a couple more, but if you catch one of the lesser wolves, the rest will take off. It's pretty cool knowing that you've cleaned the pack up. Out where I got these ones, like you look at that one, like he's not a healthy wolf. He's old, he's mangy, he's hardly got any fur on him. He's real sickly. These ones were hardly the real horrible fur. I took those ones out of that pack, and the very next year in that same area I got this one, and I got three or four other ones that were just beautiful prime fur, right? I took them unhealthy ones out, and the pack got healthier basically. Another thing too, when you're snaring, you don't want to do it when you're tired or distracted. It's a time-consuming process, and you want to do it. Take your time to do it. You got to be focused. They'll be ready to turn back around by tomorrow. They'll go on the board for a couple of days, just sit there and dry.
What'd you see?
A dead marten on the road. Hopefully he's not all squished. Worth a look. That's too bad. I hate seeing stuff like that run over. Poor little guy. I've done some pretty good sew jobs on other critters.
That's how it is when he finds a shutty on it.
Oh yeah. I swerved across 4 lanes of traffic to pick up a deer horn. One time I was heading to the Trappers Convention in Prince George, and I picked up a roadkill beaver on the side of the road. We're staying in a hotel there, so I didn't have time to skin it, so I just stuck it in the freezer in the hotel fridge and froze it, brought it home. It turned out good. It was good. I picked up quite a few beaver roadkills. In the spring they start traveling. Foxes.
Roadkill deer on the golf course.
Ah, son of a gun.
It's on the golf course, so.
Well, we'll go get it.
Okay,
Okay, we'll get it.
Friggin' car, yarn.
We'll get it later. Get rear-ended, slamming the brakes on. Good eye, honey. Good eye.
There are rules with my car what he can and cannot put in it.
When you're with me.
No, see, you don't drive it that often.
Get some castor.
Yeah,
I got a good.
bit there.
There's so many people not keeping the castor,
I know.
and they can get so much good money for it.
We might be looking at maybe getting some cougar hounds.
Yeah,
Amy and I.
well,
So, I'll keep all that
yeah.
extra beaver for dog food.
Well,
not
that's
better
that's
than
lot
that.
That's a lot cheaper than buying it.
Yeah, well, that's great. Great, when they in the winter when they're working hard.
These will be in. The next sale is in March. It's over in Finland.
I got my arm caught in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was setting two at the bottom of a tree. And I set one, and then I was setting the other one. And I reached across to grab something, and I put my hand down like that, and bam, right across. Yeah. Yeah. But they're padded jaws. It, for a big trap, it hurt my pride more than it hurt my arm. This is all the trap line boundaries in the caribou. So those two little areas we trap take up space probably the size of my thumbnail or my fingernail. It's back in the heyday, like you've trapped forever.
That's right.
We were talking about the lynx prices, What can you remember your best lynx?
$600 average.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys would go in and they take a string of cats in and get an advance and go buy a new snowmobile,
Yeah.
new skidoo and land.
That's what I was saying.
Because back in those days, those lands weren't all that much money.
Yeah.
And if you had enough cats, and you get a couple $100 drag, and you had 30 cats, a lot of money.
Yeah.
The gals that are in their 20s now are starting to really look at fur different.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a green product, it's renewable resource every 12 months.
Yeah.
The industry has cleaned itself up with humane trapping. So it makes a hell of a difference.
And with the fact that most things are made of silk, which is the inside is a silk product, which is a renewable resource, and then the things going to the landfill, it actually does break down. Whereas everything else, the amount of petroleum products, so many of the big companies, because I worked at the ski shop, right? Talking about the big clothing companies that do outdoor gear, the amount of pollution that goes into our environment from the clothing industry. It's one of the number one polluters, which is scary, but this is not. The those Canada Goose jackets, they're made in Canada, though, are they not?
Oh yeah. And that's the trim trade that they use a lot of coyote for trim around the hoods and everything. You do a nice job of your fur.
Thank you.
Real nice job.
Thanks, Keith.
You betcha. You bet. Thank you.
I'll be back into some more stuff down the road. I gotta go skin out that roadkill Martin. he's banged up pretty good, but I'll make something out of him. That's him there. Right? You should have taken a picture of how flat he was. Washed him out in a sink. Nothing wrong with that. A little bit rough around the edges, but you know what? I'd rather take this to a school and let them feel that and, poke and play with it. And yeah, we do stuff like that with our trappers in town here. We go educate people, right? This is a marten. This is, how many people drove past that marten there? I couldn't.
that's the best thing about all our outdoor activities is our whole family is incorporated in it. We do everything together, you know, or we have the option to do everything together. We can't always do it together, but you know, we do a lot together, whether it's ice fishing or skiing or hunting, trapping. You know, everybody loves going out trapping, spending a day on the trap line, and it's more than just catching stuff in your traps. That's the reward, the bonus, right? You know, being able to just randomly stop someplace and cook some hot dogs and have a pot of tea on the side of the trail, right? That's, you know, watch your kids play and, you know, snowball fights and stuff like that. I believe that doing stuff in the bush is a lot healthier for them and gives them the respect they need to grow up, and, you know, they're still allowed to be kids, right? You know, for instance, today when he got stuck on his snowmobile, he was only down the trail and over the hill. I could hear him, right? He's only a holler away. And when he goes out back here, him and his sister, they're only a holler away. And lots of times I'll, you know, well, he's been gone a little bit, so I'll go outside, I'll holler, hey, he'll holler back. He knows the rule, holler back. Okay, keep on doing your thing, right? I feel more comfortable with my kids doing their stuff in the bush than you know, than in town or whatever, right? And that's just me being more comfortable in the bush. I'm more comfortable in the bush than I am in, say, a city or something. A lot of my most memorable hunts are my hunts with my wife. She's really worked hard for everything she's got in the hunting world, like as far as game and that. And we've had some real doozy hunts, right? Real, like, challenges. So those will always stand out, right? Hunting with my son, you know, my daughter shooting her rabbits, bunnies, right? She loves hunting bunnies. You know, she was with my wife when she shot her first bunny.
There's a way that you conduct yourself, that your son conducts himself. When you guys are out there, you guys almost become another animal in the landscape.
That's all we are. You know, that's all we are. That's all humans have always been, right? We just evolved, and now we drive cars and, you know, try to destroy everything and